Good morning, everyone. Good Erev Shabbos, Shalom Aleichem, Bruchim Habayim. Parshas Vayera. We have a lot to speak about today. I also want to speak about the pogrom in Amsterdam yesterday. Shmuel, are you in Amsterdam currently? Okay, you're about 45 minutes away. So I'm sure maybe you could share with us some of the details later. But I want to speak about that and the connection to Parshas Lecha as well. Let's begin with our first offering for today, Pesacheinu Megadim, connecting the beginning and the end of the Parsha. Again, as we mentioned, this is an experiment. If how far we could get with this project, but so far so good. So let's get right in there. I see Reb Joe Farbo Torah is on with us. That looks like it's a new venue. Okay. So, Joe Farbo Torowitz. Okay. Mishana Shem, Mishana Mazal.
I don't know how that happened.
Don't look at me. I didn't name that. Okay.
I gotta change it. Okay.
No, keep it. I would keep it for now. We'll take a vote. We're going to take a vote. Well, the polls will close in a few days. You know. Okay.
What about early voting? When's that?
Vote early, vote often. Okay. So we're going to begin with Pesacheinu Megadim. If you want to be able to sign up to get the Mar Mekoimos, then please go to our site, rabbidg.com, and just subscribe. You will get the Mar Mekoimos and the share information a few times a week. Okay, Parshas Lecha. Nope. These are not the correct Mar Mekoimos, so we are going to have to go to a different email. Okay, you see it now? Here we go. Va'agad lo shemecha. Va'agad lo shemecha. The Rebbeinu Shalom tells Avraham Avinu in the opening pasuk in Parshas Lecha, I will make your name great. What does that mean, I will make your name great? Various perushim. Usually if somebody travels, so their reputation wanes. So Rashi says, even though that the derech is mamayit es Hashem va'agad lo shemecha. But there's a Rashi Yashan, an old Rashi, which brings va'agad lo shemecha means I will add a letter to your name. Until now your name was Avram, from here on your name will be Avraham. Avraham is Gematria 248, keneged the limbs of a person. Rashi also says this idea later on. His halech lefanai veheye samim. Then until now, Avram was missing five Avarim. He didn't have control, so to speak, of his eyes, ears, v'rosh hagvia. And rosh hagvia is the makom hamila. I will give you a letter on your name, and your name will now be equal to 248. And you will have control over 248 limbs. This is the Havtacha. Va'agadla is Shinoi Shemai al Yedei the Mila. Listen carefully. It's interesting to me because in the official version of Rashi on the opening pasuk in Lech Lecha, we don't have these comments, only in a Rashi Yashan. But later on in the Parsha, on the words Veheye Samim, Rashi definitely says that the promise of Va'agadla Shemecha, Hashem will add to Abraham's name by adding a hey through the mitzvah of Milah. And of course, the Parsha ends that Hashem says, you will no longer be called Avram, rather Avraham. And Avraham goes and he does the Milah. So the beginning and the end of the Parsha are the same subject. That Va'agadla Shemecha, I will add the hey, is what we indeed see at the end of the Parsha. So it comes out very good. I'm sold on this week's Pesacheinu Megadim. I think it's very compelling that the opening message of Va'agadla Shemecha is indeed what comes to fruition in the end. Let's add some other interesting ideas. In the Balaturim says Lech Lecha is Gematria 100. That you know when Lech Lecha el arza sharecha v'escha l'goy gadol. You know how old you will be when I'm v'escha l'goy gadol. You know how old you will be When Yitzchak is born, Lech Lecha, 100. And sure enough, at the end of the Parsha, Avram says, what? At 100 years old, I'm going to have a baby? So what Hashem promised him in the beginning of the Parsha, that you will become Va'agad L'Shemecha, you will have Yitzchak at 100, by the end of the Parsha, Avram Avinu is laughing in joy. Really? I'm 100 and I'm going to have a child. So I wanted just to add one little nakuda, besides what we just said, is that in the final pasuk of the Parsha, it says, "V'chol anshe beisa yelid bayis umiknas kesef me'es ben nechar nimaylu itai." I couldn't help but interpreting this pasuk. Maybe the word me'es ben nechar could be read me'as. Me'as, 100 years old. So I searched and I searched and I searched, and I found in a sefer, I don't know who wrote it honestly, Imrois Hashem Hashalem, who says, yeah, you could interpret the pasuk that way. Me'es says me'as. So really, the beginning of the parsha begins Lech Lecha, that according to the Baal Turma, Hashem promises Avram at age 100, you're going to have a child. And at the end of the parsha, Avram Avinu, with all Anshe Beisa and Miknas Kesef, at Me'as, at 100 years old, they were having the Milah. Okay. We move on. Rashi says, V'escha l'goy gadol is a havtacha, that he would have children. And in the end of the parsha, Hashem says, yes, okay, now's the time. Ubeirachti oisa. And I will give her a blessing. That I will give her a blessing to have children. And that Avol Sarah Ishtecha Yoledes L'chabein V'Karasa Shema Yitzchak. Here's an interesting thought. I was trying to investigate this. I didn't find much, but I still want to bring it to your attention. You know, we have a Nisayon in the beginning of the Parsha, Nisayon in the end of the Parsha. The Nisayon in the beginning of the Parsha is Lech Lecha. The Nisayon at the end of the Parsha is Milah. It's interesting that both of these Nisyonos, the same verb is used. Lech Lecha is go, and Milah also. Hashem says, Ani kel shakai, his halech lefanai, v'heyei samim. Go before me. As if somehow the command of Lech Lecha, of go, is continuous. Go to Eretz Yisrael, but go is continue to go mechayel el chayel. Whether it's the Nisayon of Lech Lecha, or whether it's the Nisayon of the Bris Milah. And finally, in the beginning of the Parsha, Hashem says, L'zaracha atenes haaretz hazois, to your descendants I'm giving this land. And at the end of the Parsha, Hashem says, V'nosati l'cha u'l'zaracha acharecha eis eretz megurecha. I'm giving you the land. So that's also a commonality between the beginning and the end of the Parsha. But one thing is, in the end of the Parsha, Hashem gives Avram Avinu in the midst of Milah, and it's in the merit of Milah that we're Zoicha to Eretz Yisrael. Because Rashi says in the Pasuk, Ve'etzna brisi beini uveinecha, says Rashi, the bris ha'aretz, what does it mean, and I will give my bris between me and you? The bris is bris ha'aretz. The covenant is the covenant of Eretz Yisrael to give it to you through the mitzvah of Milah. Meaning, you can be Mekayim, this inyan of Lech Lecha, meaning the beginning of the Parsha is Lech Lecha, and the end of the Parsha is, you know how you could go to Eretz Yisrael, you know in what merit? Through the mitzvah of Bris Milah. So these are some ideas of connecting the beginning of the Parsha and the end of the Parsha, and indeed we see in Parshas Lech Lecha, it's Pesacheinu Megadim. How delightful it is in its doors, in its beginnings and ends. So that's the first offering for today.